Hey everybody, Adam here. Thought I'd invite you along for another little night shift cut. It's my last night shift of the week, and it's kind of a different one. The week has been a straightforward week, average week, but I did have a breakdown. Not a big deal. Breakdowns happen all the time. It is a machine. But quick fix. We had our mechanic in. He fixed it up for me. Now we're good to go. I get a lot of questions about different cuts. I know here not too long ago there was a cut close to home. A lot of people threw a big fuss up about it. And, they got it on Facebook. They got it on everything going. People were rallying behind it. Oh, it's so destructive. It just looks awful. Well, the actual landowner that bought the ground had the process cut. And, basically what the block looked like was kind of like the block I'm cutting right now. It was a mixed stand of wood. And as you can see around me, all of this stuff that's on the ground here, this is all dead wood. It's wood that has blown over. You see up there's a ton of it blown over and dead up here. And it's actually past where it could be harvested because we can take, wood that's not bad, that like the center is good, it's got white meat in it kind of thing. Even if the bark is peeling off it, anything like that. But if it's completely dead, even pulpwood, the chip plant needs to have solid wood to make good chips. And in order to make good product out of those chips, they can't have that dead wood. Contrary to unpopular belief, you just can't pick up all the wood that's dead. Like that one, you can see it's totally dead. There's nothing in that. I can't send that to a mill. Besides the fact there's no weight in it for anything. It doesn't do me any good. It's just in my way right now. So this is kind of a private salvage block. The landowner decided that they wanted to cut the block after the front blew off it, and actually where the road starts in, I cut the road way back in June, and as you can tell, it's March. So it's been a while. We couldn't cut the block in June because it was just too wet. It's a lot of swampy ground and stuff like that. So we're back here just trying to do what we can. I don't expect we'll be able to cut the whole block. We've been here for a little while, and there's places that we just can't get in. So anyway, I thought I'd describe a little bit about this. It's got a little more wood on it, a little more species than the last block that I cut, which was a plantation. This one, like the tree I'm cutting right now, that's a fir. Got my first log, stud wood. Oh, get another stud out of it, and a stick of pulp. This tree is a pine tree. I'm going to wait for that for a second. I'll cut that in a second. Big part of our job is identifying our tree species. We've had guys that try to run the harvesters. Not really all their fault, but sometimes they come in, they're untrained. They don't know their tree species, and that's typical. A lot of young lads, even nowadays, can't even tell you what a maple tree looks like. Luckily for me, my father grew up every time we took a drive in the woods. He always showed us tree species, asked me what this tree was, that tree was, showed us the difference between a red pine, a white pine, a spruce, a fir, white spruce, red spruce. White birch is easy enough. That's the white one. Get this dead one out of the way so I don't snag something. We'll snag this pine. Now, cutting pine is a little different. I can't cut it like the other ones. Kind of got to take a look at it. Oh, crooked. First piece has to be pulp. I can't send pine to a mill anywhere that doesn't have a nice straight block in it, so it's just a quality thing. Don't ever think that the guys in the woods are out and all we're doing was just cutting trees down, destroying them, cutting them to a certain length. If they are, they're not a good quality forester or good quality operator, especially from a harvester. I hold all the guys to that. I don't care who you are, quality's where it's at. And I say that because now this would be a stud. You see the bottom of it. That was rotted, so I bucked that off. Now I have sound wood. So now I can make a few good studs. And every one of them is sound from there on out. Take my pulp out of the bottom, or out of the top, sorry. Toss the rest. Now if I took that to the mill, or sent that to a mill, and had, a little bit of rot or anything in it, you ask yourself, when I build a house, build a shed, build anything that's made by a 2x4 or a 2x6 or pressure treated lumber, anything like that, would I want rot in that lumber? They can't cut boards out of rotten wood. In our logs, the bigger logs, over 6 inches, they do allow to take a little bit of rot off crown land to save it from wasting much, and they can also get boards out of the outside of the tree with the center rotted, stuff like that. They can still manage to take some boards out of it because it's bigger, got lots of meat on it. Studwood, you can't really do that because, like I said, it's smaller most of the time. Our studwood sizes are like 6 inches and under, down to about 4.5 inches, so they can get a good stick of lumber out of it. So anything smaller goes to pulp. You see me take that piece out of there. It's just a snag. It's not only bad for me, like I have rubber tires on this machine that can get into those rims, into the tires, blow the tires. And when the porter comes, he's rubber tires as well, and it can do a lot more damage to him too. I've seen porters with stubs, we call them, getting ripped off. Maybe something goes up, catches something in the porter, does its damage mechanically, and then the porter's broke down because the guy in the harvester just made a mess or cut things off too high. This tree that I'm grabbing now, that's a poplar, or as you might call it, large tooth aspen. There is large and small tooth. This is dark gray bark on it, so it's a large tooth. The softer of our wood, that will go to our hardwood. There's a hardwood mill not far from here actually that grinds it up and uses it for different products. There's another pine, looks pretty straight. The guys at the mill just love it if I send them dirty pine. I mean, dirty by crooked, or yeah, all those guys at the mill. I know a lot of them. Maybe odd chance I might get a chance to go in and take a video, maybe, and show you guys what the inside of the mill looks like, if that's allowed. If not, it's worth a try, but I'll try. I always like to see the insides of the mill myself. Biggest reason for me is I like to see what they are able to use for timber. So the timber is the product that I make, regardless of make, and I like to know what their capabilities are inside the mill. That way I can make sure that I don't send them something that doesn't work in the mill. Something like this here. If that has to be straight to grind, I gotta cut that off. Oh yeah. to see behind that top. Yeah, so I got a lot of response from my last couple of videos. So yeah, I got lots of friends in my hometown that are watching, like to watch the videos. A few lads that maybe used to work in the woods. I know I got some friends where they there we go, used to run an old chainsaw. Maybe they're now in their 70s and 80s. They like watching what we're doing. You know, logging has gone a whole different direction than when I was a kid. My dad used to run a skidder, had an old 230 Timberjack cable skidder. My uncle, who actually is working with us, he'll be here eventually. He runs the Rotney Porter. They had a skidder crew. I have another uncle that ran it part-time. A couple of years. They had different crews over the time. You know, they ran the skidder, I don't know how many years straight, and then he got into a Porter. So we had a Timberjack Porter 4-wheel drive, 12-ton. Had to run a clutch off that just to run the boom. A little different than the ones we have now. But that's, yeah, that's what he ran. That's what he did when I was a kid anyway. As he got out of his own business, one of our largest mills in New Brunswick and the number 2 paper producer in the world, Repap, they shut down. Yeah, it caused a big rift in our logging industry way back in the day. So he ended up losing some of his, you know, the contract. Pulp wasn't worth anything, and that's what they made all their paper out of, was pulp. It was a big hurt to this province. Would have been nice to still have that mill, but, you know, the way the business goes, competitors buy it up. And what happened with that mill is they bought it up basically to shut it down. And they were the number 1 producer before, so that's business. We miss it, but we've moved forward from there. Get the bobble out of the way. There's lots of it right here. So one of the questions I got right off the bat was, what's all the beeping when you hear me cutting? Just a second. Hung up over there. What's all the beeping? If you listen, that beep right there, if you look down here, you can actually see it tells me when this lights up green that it's the right length and right spec. If I change species into the, or let's say go to studwood down to pulpwood, it'll give me a different beep. So I don't necessarily have to look at the computer screen all the time. You can kind of see over here that that's my backup camera. Not too many machines actually have a backup camera now, but more and more are coming out with them. I can swing around in this one. I don't need to look over my shoulder because this cab as a whole, as you can tell, this cab swings to follow the head. So I'll cut the tree first. So if I swing over here, you notice the boom's to my side now, but my cab follows the head. It's pretty cool what these come out. Actually, when I first started working in the woods, I'm going to say 13 years ago, 14, 15 years ago, I don't remember now. Getting to be a blur. I ran a John Deere 1510 Porter, which had this cab on it. And that's kind of the first cut to length machines that I cut, or that I operated. You have to excuse me a little bit stuttering. I'm thinking about what I'm doing and trying to talk. It's all new to me, but we'll get through it. I do have a few things now. Got some mics up. Trying to get rigged up just so I can show you guys a few things. I've got a few friends that are on doing this. Actually, it's becoming a pretty popular trend. If you go on to YouTube, check out T. Richard Todd. He's about an hour to an hour and a half down there. Takes some great videos. He's been on YouTube for quite a long time, and he runs a different machine than I do. He runs a Tiger Cat with a new Tiger Cat head. Used to have a Logmax, but and I'm not sure who Todd works for 100%. I talk to him from time to time, but I don't know. I got a hunch of who it is, but I don't want to say. Check him out on YouTube. He's got some dandy videos. Yeah, so like I said, this is my last night of the last shift of the week. Oh, there we go. It's Thursday night, and actually they're telling me, somebody told me that we're supposed to get a lunar eclipse around 3:15 in the morning. I'll still be here. Tree had something going on in the middle of it. It was rotten or something. So I don't know. The moon actually is right up there, so maybe we'll get a chance to see it. If you ever happen to notice that I might have to look at my buttons or just kind of make a mistake on my buttons, maybe I do things twice. I've only been on this machine since October. I think October, the end of October, yeah. I'll get the top next trip. I ran an 1170 for the summer by myself, cutting some small wood. I kind of used that as a training time because I had never run one of these. See, speaking of that, I've had a few guys, local guys, contractors, ask me about the controls of these things. I do want to do a video explaining what the controls are. There's quite a few differences in these don't run shore grips. They run basically like the Porters. They got the short little joysticks. But unlike the Porter, you don't only use the joysticks. So if you can see these buttons here all across the front, same on the other hand over here, all of these buttons actually are they're used a lot more than I thought they were. So things like your knife pulses and stuff like that. But I'll get into that for a little more elaborate video for contractors that know what I'm talking about, because most people that are just here to watch me cut aren't familiar with the technical side of all the machines. But I will try to post a video probably after shutdown, which is probably within the next week or two. For me, our contract work is done. Now we're just doing some private work just to get a couple of weeks in. And yeah, so I would assume probably 2 more weeks. The roads are already a mess. A lot of guys are going home now. And we just want to get a part of this cleanup done so that we can actually get the wood moving at some point. But like I said, the road's bad, so I don't really know how bad it's going to get for them to truck it. We do have a shutdown time where the roads shut down. A lot of side roads and stuff shut down. Main highways usually stay 100%, which means the trucks can haul on them, and that's where we're at. I'm not far from the highway right now. I'll give that a second. The machine's gotta... It's just gonna blow the fan. So the fan in this machine is right behind me, so like a car, the radiator and stuff like that is right behind me here. And when that fan reverses like it just did, that cleans out the dust and stuff from the shroud ahead of it, and that way there it keeps the machine running nice and cool. I think I'll throw this on the other side. if you have any ideas that you'd like to throw at me, for maybe if there's a certain thing you'd like to know, you got a question, certain things you'd like me to try or show you, I'm trying not to take up any time of my work time. As you can see, doing this doesn't stop me from working. I can still work. I'm trying not to stop. Any of the other videos, like episode 1 that you guys saw, that was during my lunchtime, or Saturdays, stuff like that. So if there's anything I can show you or help you understand, I can do that. Working on an episode right now that we talk about the tariffs, because that's a familiar talk right now. I do have some knowledge about that, way I see it, stuff like that. I'll get into that, and I'm just talking with a few people right now to find out for sure how the different mills are going to be affected, because each mill is going to be affected differently. So I don't want to give you guys any bad information or something that you're going to come back and say, well, he said this. So yeah, I just like to give you the facts instead. Don't want to get too crazy. But it does affect us. It does affect logging. It does affect New Brunswick and all of Canada. And you know, I get a few messages every day where they you know, guys are like, oh, I wonder how we're going to be affected by the tariffs. So it is a concern, and I know a lot of guys are worried about it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Hopefully in the near future I'll have that done, and that's another something probably come out during the shutdown, which will be the month of April. Clean up a little more. Got some dandy wood ahead of me. I'll cut through that and then give it to you guys. Do want to thank you guys all for the feedback. You know, I opened up a TikTok account. If you want to check that out, Up and Adam at TikTok. Probably most of my cutting videos will remain on YouTube, just because they can be bigger, you know, bigger files. TikTok, I think, only lets you do a 10-minute video, so you'll see different things on different places. But the first week, I guess tomorrow morning will be 2 weeks since I started the channel. It's been going great. Subscribers are coming along. There's people liking what they're seeing, and I'm glad, because I've actually got a lot of people in my community saying, hey, we're watching your videos, never had a chance to see what the forestry is all about, but we're loving it. I'm getting a lot of great feedback that way. So thanks a lot. I do appreciate that. Don't worry about the anything else. You know, I'm not doing it for the money or anything. It's not, there's zero money in it. This is videos, and you know, I don't know, maybe someday there'll be something in it, but my primary thing here, there we go. The primary objective here is just to let the general public in on what we do for a living, the forestry industry as a whole. I know everybody looks at it negatively, but I'm hoping that I can shed some light on it. You know, inform people, because I believe that facts and informing people properly is the best way to help people understand everything. Nowadays there's so much out there with, you know, you can't believe anything hardly you see now. AI's got everything all out of whack. You don't know who to believe in politics. You don't know who to believe on the radio. You don't know who to believe in TV, the news. But I've always found, and I've been raised that way, that the truth is always the best way to go, because it will always find out what's going on. Ah, here's a tree you don't see a lot of. It's a tamarack tree. It looks like a spruce tree a little bit. Inside's really orange. It's hung up with another tree, so I'm going to drop that for now. Don't worry, sometimes this happens. You can see it drop there. It's hung up on probably 4 more trees yet. I'll get it here in a second. No big concern, just work your way around it. Don't try to reef it, don't try to do anything crazy with it. So right now it's sitting down on the ground. I'm not going to get out and walk under it, I'll tell you that. It's going to stay right where it is. There. And it's pretty rotten tamarack. Oh yeah. I don't think there's going to be anything out of it anyway. The top broke off. It's all rotted up there too, so I'm not going to do anything with that. Oh yeah, everybody likes to see the big ones up there, so I'll get the big one out of the way here. Spruce. That's the tree I'll end on. Oh yeah, that's fine. The big popple top on the other side, but it come down. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.